Evening. How are we, everyone? Of course, today is 21 post-op for my bariatric surgery. So 3 weeks yesterday. Again, thank you so much to all of the lovely comments that I got yesterday when I popped up my progress in terms of my weight loss and that face-to-face comparison. You guys are absolutely amazing, and I really appreciate it. Right, so I've done a little bit of research today. So over the past probably fortnight, I've really noticed 3 physical things going on with my body that are unusual for me, that I've just been monitoring, keeping an eye on, and sort of got to the point where I was really thinking about them this morning. Hey Joe Gorgeous, and thinking, yeah, I wonder if I need to look into these. Or one thing I said to a friend today that's really hard at the moment actually is when something physical happens and you're like, is this an after effect of the surgery, or is this something else? Like, should I be worried? So I did go on and post on a couple of the Bariatric New Zealand Facebook groups today, listing the 3 things that I'm finding strange going on physically with me at the moment. So the 3 things that I've got going on at the moment are, one is lightheadedness. Generally speaking, it's when I stand up. Now, not only from a lying down position, but even if I've been sitting for a while and then I stand up and go to walk straight away, I'm getting really dizzy. Often if I'm getting up from a lying down situation, I'm actually getting the white spots in my eyes and the ringing in my ears, and I'm really holding on for dear life at that point. But it has also happened to me once in a standing position, and that was last Thursday when I was doing an hour-long live through my Pure Romance by Marie page. High energy, and sort of got 45 minutes through to it, and I got the spots and the ringing. So that's one thing. Another thing I have noticed, and this actually started about a week before surgery, so a week into my pre-op diet, is random pins and needles through my left arm. So from about the elbow down, just randomly, it will go completely dead and just full of pins and needles, and I just can't feel it, and it just feels like a dead arm. Lasts 2 or 3 minutes, and then it passes again. So that's the second thing. And then the third thing is dreams. Like very vivid dreams and restless sleep. So as Joe said, a few people have said to me it sounds like I might have low blood pressure, which is something that seems to be reasonably common in this post-op period. A couple of people suggested I need to add more salt into my diet. When I reflected on that, my pre-surgery diet, my normal diet back then, would have been fairly high in salt. I'm never one that has added it to my food, never. But I would eat chips and, stuff that naturally has a lot of salt into it. And I'm definitely not at the moment. So I'm thinking of adding some miso soup and some stock cubes in water, just to see if I can get a bit of a salt level back. And that sort of seems to be around that low blood pressure. I have sent an email off to the surgeon's clinic this morning as well, so I'll wait to hear back from that as to whether I should be heading to the GP to check the blood pressure. The pins and needles in my arm, there were 1 or 2 people that came back and reported that they have had that as well, not necessarily just in one arm, but legs and arms and stuff like that, but it didn't seem to be an overwhelming response of, oh yeah, I've had that too. So that also was in my email. But the one that I've been researching today actually is the dreams. So if we go back to pre-surgery Marie, like pre-op diet, pre-everything, the old Marie, let's say, I'm not someone that remembers my dreams. Never have. I do have a few recurring nightmares that I always vividly remember. I always remember those, but it tends to be the same repeated. Other than that, it is very rare for me to ever wake up and go, oh, I had this dream last night. Just not something I do. Also, I have traditionally had a lot of trouble going to sleep at night. That tends to come down with my anxiety. That's a part and parcel of that. But generally speaking, once I'm asleep, I am out. Like, I am out for the count. To the extent that my son is 8 and I still have a baby monitor in his room with the speaker beside my bed, because if I didn't have that, I wouldn't actually hear him waking up in the night unless he came in and got me. So by having that speaker, it helps my anxiety, put it that way, that I know I can hear him if he needs me, because I am quite a deep sleeper traditionally. But the last couple of weeks, wow. So I'm exhausted. I mean, I've talked about that a fair bit, right? Absolutely exhausted, still having naps during the day, all of these things. I do these sort of check-ins around this 9:15ish mark, and then I am literally straight to bed every night. And that is uncommon. I am usually not in bed until 1 a.m, 2 a.m maybe. So I've been very tired. But then once I get into bed, I struggle to get asleep, and I'm not staying asleep for very long. I'm waking up every couple of hours, might get up and go to the toilet, and then it could take me another few hours to get back to sleep, which has never happened to me in my life. And I'm dreaming constantly, and they are vivid dreams, and I remember them all when I wake up. And the most bizarre things, so one dream I had last night, so it was me as myself now, as adult Marie, and I was hanging out with a guy that I associated with in my early adult life. I never considered him a friend. He was more of a friend of my partner, and sort of our group tolerated him, shall we say, but I was never fond of him. I have not seen this dude. Apart from a couple of times in passing at events, I have not seen this guy for probably 10 years at least. Last night in my dream, we were hanging out for some reason, and I leant in to kiss him, and he shot me down. He shot me down. What? But these dreams, they are so vivid, and I'm having 6 or 7 a night, and it's just so different for me. So when I posted this up in the group today, overwhelmingly, pretty much 100% of the people came back saying, yes, this is happening to me too. What is this about? And no one really seemed to have an answer, but we were all in agreement that it was happening. So Nerdy Marie kicked in, and I had to figure out why, because that's just how I work. And overwhelmingly, from what I read in a couple of research papers out of Britain, as well as one out of Australia, is that it is very common for bariatric surgery patients to have very vivid dreams and very restless sleep for maybe a month post-op. Now, it is a combination of the anesthetic still leaving your body. We know that anesthetic stays in your body for a long, long time, and it can take up to a month for all of those effects to really remove from your body. But I have had general anesthetics before, and I never remember this outcome. So it's actually that in a combination with a hormone that your stomach creates. So your body has a set point. It's used to A, no anesthetic in its system, and B, a certain amount of this hormone that your stomach creates. After bariatric surgery, of course, my stomach has suddenly been taken out of the equation, shall we say. We are literally bypassing that thing, plus the anesthetic, and those combined with that total hormone imbalance going on from this specific stomach hormone just absolutely messes with your brain, basically. So I am stuck in the, what do they call it? Is it REM sleep? The sleep where you're not quite in a deep sleep, and that's when you have a lot of dreams. And it is very usual for someone post-bariatric surgery for up to a month to not be able to get into a deep sleep, which actually adds to that feeling of exhaustion, as well as the lack of calories and everything else. So I found that really interesting, because up until the point that I posted this morning, I'm like, what is going on with my brain? Like, this is weird. So again, I guess that's a total shout out for the fact of how sharing a problem, or what you perceive as a problem, with people in the same situation as you and getting reinforcement that they're getting it too can be so valuable. So again, I highly recommend that if you are someone considering going through this journey, finding those groups, finding those Facebook groups, bariatric buddies, whatever that is that you locate and hook into, because having that person to go, hey, this just happened to me, what do you think? And for them to go, yes, is so reassuring. It really is. And I mean, that goes for everything in life. I know that even from my Pure Romance by Marie side of things, sometimes I get anonymous posts and stuff like that coming through my VIP group of women going, this happens to me during intimacy, or whatever it might be. And you get all of these other women going, yes, this happens to me. And then you always get someone going, I thought it was just me. And the empowerment that you get from finding out that it's someone else as well can be really powerful. So I'm definitely guiding my way through physical after effects of surgery at the moment. The vivid dreams are real, and they are bizarre. Like I say, this dude from last night, like, he hasn't even been in my brain for 10 years. Like, I left him way back, right? So strange that he popped up and he shot me down. And then, of course, the dizziness and stuff going on. Like I say, I'm waiting to hear back from the surgeon's office as to how I proceed with that. And some people, certainly the pins and needles dead arm seems to be not common. Like I say, there were a couple of people, but certainly not common. So also considering how I'm going to deal with that one, whether it may be circulation issue. There was a little bit of speculation, which I am going to look a little bit more into, that it could be through body realignment. So I have noticed that since losing this huge amount of weight in a short period of time, even short walks from my house to the letterbox and back, I can come back and my hips and my lower back are just absolutely in agony. More agony than was normal for me pre-surgery at my heaviest weight after a full day of activity. And I do recall being warned when I was looking into this a couple of years ago that I have got bad hips anyway. I have got congenital hip displacement and hip disfigurement. And I was warned that I could have trouble with my hips in this post-op period when I'm losing weight, because what happens is when a human body slowly puts on or loses weight, your posture adjusts to take into things like your center of gravity and other things like that that change with your body shape, right? And when you do it slowly, your posture slowly adjusts to that through the change. By losing weight dramatically, my posture hasn't caught up with my new body structure and how I should be standing for everything to be comfortable. So somebody did speculate in my post about the pins and needles that it could come down to that as well. It could be like a little nerve being twinged or something, just to do with my alignment of my body not quite catching up with my weight loss yet. And it certainly made sense to me, but it is something I want to look into further, and I will wait to hear back from the surgeon's office. But it just goes to show I know it's a huge surgery, bariatric surgery, literally we replumbed my insides. But how the effects can be so much more than literally eating. How that can filter through so much more of your body. Yeah, it's quite a fascinating journey to be on. It really is. So I'll keep you posted on the dizziness and pins and needles issue when I hear back. But I think I've solved the dream one, and I now know that I just have to wait until a month post-op, and hopefully we will go back to some sense of normality there, because I miss my deep sleep. I really do. But that's it for me today, day 21 post-op. The days are sure ticking by now. As you saw from my update yesterday, just like a big wee shy of 12 kg down from my starting weight before my 2 weeks post-op. So she's definitely coming off. She's definitely coming off. All right, I hope you've all had an absolutely incredible day. Remember, be kind, and I will catch you all, no doubt, tomorrow.